Welcome to episode 10 of the Canna Machine podcast, a podcast about the CBD and canna industry. And I'm your host, Gary Cannaday. So whether you're a CBDer, canna curious, or blazing your own trail, there's something for you here. In this episode, we meet Greg from the UK Cannabis Social Clubs, a network of private member clubs for adult, medical and social use. I also meet Adam from Modular Growth. Hear how Adam invented a modular lighting system that can mimic the characteristics of light cycles from all over the world. First up, it's Greg De Hoedt. Greg is the chairman of the UK Cannabis Social Clubs, also known as the UKCSC. And he's also the editor of the Quarter Leaf magazine. With over 70 UK clubs listed on the group's website, it seems like the UKCSC is going from strength to strength. So let's hear from Greg to find out more. I'm here with Greg from the United Kingdom Cannabis Social Clubs. Thanks for agreeing to talk to me today, Greg.
No worries, thanks for having us.
For anyone who hasn't heard of your organisation, can you give me a little bit of background and just tell listeners what you do?
So the UKCSC, we're the campaign for sensible adult regulation in the UK. We want people to be able to grow their own at home without fear of arrest from the police or being raided. But also, if you want to run a cannabis business or a cannabis social club because you want to be able to socialise with your friends or have a safe space for people to socialise, we've tried to foster that kind of model in the UK. So we've written guidelines of how to go about it. We also work with police, crime commissioners, local councils, MPs to try and get them to understand that we're not just a bunch of criminals that want to grow weed and overtake the world. A lot of us are normal people, we've got normal jobs, many of us are patients, a lot of us have been criminalised for our use of cannabis or possession of it or growing it at home, and we've felt the impact of that. So we're trying to remove those harms and risks from people's lives while gaining some credibility for people that are, just cannabis consumers in general. The media have painted a really bad picture of who we are, and we're just trying to readdress that. Can you describe what does the typical group consist of? What are their activities? So we've got 3 or 4 different types of club really here in the UK. You've got community groups that are sort of they're just finding their feet, they're getting together, the people coming out the woodwork saying, I want change, or this is my situation, who else around me is the same. They're getting together, they're doing little meetups, they might hold little raffles to raise money to to further their own cause. And out of that, clubs might develop into a community club where they've not got a venue, but they are an established group of friends and people that trust each other. They provide services to each other, they help each other out, they're a support network, and their ultimate aim is to get a venue. So then the next stage is you've got clubs that have got a venue. They might not dispense cannabis products on the venue, their members grow for themselves, they bring it to the club and they share it, but the overheads are needed to cover it, so they charge membership fees, they sell tuck shop items, they might hold raffles, sell merchandise, those kind of things. But that provides a very valid and important community space for people to get together in. When you're given a bag of medicine from the doctors, like your opiates, your steroids, your amitriptyline, gabapentin, chemotherapy drugs, in some cases like myself, I've got Crohn's disease. When I was prescribed, they were the options for me, opiates and steroids and those pharmaceuticals. You don't have a good social life. Your friends drop you because you're so ill. They don't want to don't want to hang around with them anymore. Become pretty soul destroying for a lot of people, and they can become recluse. The drugs don't help them socialise in the first place because they can mong you out. Whereas cannabis, if you come into a space where you're using cannabis medicine and you're around other people that A, understand it, B, are feeling the same as you in the same space and time, that's health in itself. Socialising is a really underrated part of our, mental well-being and community standards that we've got in the UK. We have safe consumption lounges for alcohol. They're called pubs. There's thousands of them. We need to have them for cannabis. And then the next stage is for that kind of venue to then be able to go, right, we're growing for our members. We know how many members we've got. We know what strains they need. We know how much they need a month. We grow for them so they don't have to go to the black market. And that is the 4 stages of a fully functional club. You have just got people that are just growing for themselves though. They've registered with the UKCSC tag plant model. So we've created a model if you're growing your own and you want some support from it. We've got a legal team that said if you're growing up to 9 plants and you took these tags around, got a unique serial number on them, if the police did raid you, and none of them have been raided yet, we would come in and step in, stand up for you in court, or speak to the police, probation services, whoever, to say, look, we've vouched for this person, we've vetted them, we know they're not organised crime and they're not grown for any other reason than what they say they are. No one's ever done that for cannabis consumers in the UK. We're in a kind of grey zone that I feel like the clubs have pushed us into a grey zone now, because police have turned around, 7 forces in the UK out of 48 have said, we know what you're doing, we're not going to clamp down on that because we understand the reasons you're doing it, and you are trying to separate yourself from organised crime and the black market. It's just now a case of legitimising that a little bit more and digging our roots into the ground and maybe expanding a little bit. But we've got 7 places in the UK, 7 constabularies where the police have said, okay, we're open to discussion on this, so we need to move forward. And Surrey, Dorset, Durham, North Wales, the West Midlands. So this isn't you're fine to open a cannabis social club. This is, come and speak to us. If you're working towards the model that we've seen, that the UKCSC put forward, we know who you are, and what your intentions are, where you are, then we can do it. We want to be able to turn around to the police and say, someone's attacked our building, can you come and help us, can we detect the crime, rather than fearing calling the police and saying someone's attacked our building, and then we end up getting arrested for running a cannabis club. So like Birmingham, for example, sort of like the Daily Mail got hold of a story, there was a picture of me got leaked out onto the internet by one of the people there, or it was just harmlessly posted online. It got leaked to a journalist and they ran a story, and sort of like nothing bad happened out of the end of it. The police did visit that location, but no charges were pressed. It was a private party. They were more concerned that alcohol was being sold there at the same time as the cannabis was being consumed. And that was the beef of it. I think we've had another club, one of the Brighton events actually. Police walked into a pub, wasn't a licensed venue anymore. We'd been using it for about 2 years. The police walked in on the day that we did an event where the alcohol license had run out. So they were more concerned about that than the smell of cannabis in the air. And it does. Then that's a county that hasn't officially said yes, we're on board with this. So yeah, it's a postcode lottery in the UK. It's whatever policeman's on the beat at the time. It might be someone who's sniffed something, and that's how people are getting busted. But there's not in most of the constabularies in the UK. There's not a let's go after cannabis mentality.
For people who aren't in the UK, cannabis is a Class B drug.
Class B, yeah.
For possession, there is a discretionary system in place.
It's like a 3 strikes rule. The first time you get caught with it, you're going to get it confiscated and you're going to get a warning. So it's, a lot of people say it's been decriminalised because of that. So yeah, first interaction has been decriminalised. Some people still do get taken to the station, do get a criminal record for it because the officer dealing with them is being over the top, or they want to teach the person a lesson for being a little bit too mouthy or something like that. So it's always advisable to if you're being stopped by the police, you've got cannabis on you, don't give them too much lip because you could get in more trouble. But also look up release.org.uk or WiStop for more information on if you do get stopped and searched by the police. There's some good information about how to sort of like handle yourself, make eye contact with the police, don't look shady and things like that. But the second time you get caught, you get a £90 fine, street warning, penalty charge notice, like a parking ticket. If you don't pay that, then you can get summoned to court. If you get caught a third time, you get arrested, then you can be taken to court because you're effectively looked at as a repeat offender. What the police have done though, is similar to in places like London, Birmingham, is similar to kind of New York tactic. They're not bothered if you're not seeing it, but they just out and about. But if they want to sort of like get a quota, or they want to feel like they're doing their job, they stop and search people. And there's been no reason for the stop and search. You know, they could stop an account, why are you in this area, just ask a few questions, but they don't. They turn people's pockets over. And in London, in 2011, they were disproportionately doing it to black people, young black males mainly, and in some cases, people were getting stop and search between 4 and 10 times a day in their own neighbourhoods. And that ended up in the riots in Brixton, and that actually led to a reduction in stop and search in the UK. Cannabis penalty notice is a great little revenue collector, low-hanging fruit we are, especially in sort of like built-up areas. People like to, people need to relax from the stresses of that, so cannabis is a good one, much safer than alcohol. There could be a battle on our hands. We could be up against, the rising force of prohibition. And people have got to be aware of it. People should, I'm not saying people should be discreet, more discreet, but just be aware that this is something that's going to be going on. There could be, they could try and count down on the clubs. We saw that in America when certain advancements were going on. DEA still came in and raided certain businesses, and they tried to make examples out of people. They make people's lives hell. Even if charges got dropped, they shake things up. They scare people off.
What will happen next 5 years? What will happen next 5 years?
Where do you see things in 3 years, 5 years from now?
20,000 jobs for cannabis consumers and workers in the UK. There's lots of ancillary, businesses that people can provide services to the cannabis industry. I think it'll be more than 20,000. I'd like to see, there's 48,500 towns, villages and cities and hamlets in the UK. There should be a cannabis social club in every single one of them. Some people think Boris Johnson's going to legalise cannabis in the UK because he hired someone from a cannabis company as a lobbyist. And the money side of things, with Brexit going on, is that going to be really good business for the UK? My concern is there going to be social equity policies in place? Are they going to make sure that people are being disproportionately advantaged? Too much corporate scare from Canada and America coming over here at the moment. We think that they want to introduce a postal service so they don't have to legalise anything over here for the right to grow. If we can order it from America and it will be delivered on our doorstep without interrupting British life at all, I think politicians might like that. If they can just cream the tax off of it.
If people want to get in touch with your organisation, how can they find you?
We are on all social media platforms. So Instagram is at UK Cannabis Social Clubs, Twitter UK Cannabis Clubs, they made us shorten it, Facebook UKCSC, and then our website is ukcsc.co.uk. And if you find a copy of the Quarterleaf magazine anywhere, make sure you pick it up. That's made by us. It tells you all about UK cannabis culture.
Next up is Adam from Modular Growth. Adam has invented an LED lighting system to help mimic the patterns of natural sunlight from around the globe. Here's Adam to explain more. So Adam, can you tell me a little bit about your business?
So we're a hydroponics lighting company which specialises in a modular system, so it's Meccano for the hydroponics lighting system. We're the first company to do a three-dimensional light source for growing, so it's built into the framework, so your grow space is doubled in size. You don't have lights in the way. It's a full spectrum output for both grow and for flower. Contains 5 different spectrums of light which you can control on an app-based system. It's also a cloud-based system, so if you're growing a specific plant, you input what plant you're growing, that gets loaded up to the cloud, and then if it works well in the setup that you've created, you can record that, and then other users can use that to grow the same plant with the same light output you've added to it. And then if they can do the same and use your app.
Okay, and just to explain it a little bit for people who can't see the actual lights, they are in strips of what, approximately about a yard?
Yeah, they're a 1 metre strip. It's a 45-degree angle. It's got mounted rails up and down the side, so you can modularly connect it in 3 dimensions. So you can create a cube, you can create a rectangular cuboid, you can create a half-metre cube, and from that you can grow outwards.
And the LED lights, they're different colours?
Yeah, there's 5 different spectrums. So you've got 2700 Kelvin, which is a warm white light. You then have a 650 nanometer range, which is the red light. We also then have a 6500 Kelvin color temperature, which is the lighter white, cold white. And then we have two different blue nanometers, which is the 440 and the 460. And they also encourage photosynthetic growth.
And so you've got different color temperatures is what you were touching upon
Yeah,
there.
you have the ability to create sunrise to sunset in a fading time of your choice to help promote the health of your plant. So rather than just a light source that switches on and off, this is a naturalistic way of creating sunlight. So obviously the sun doesn't just switch off at night, it takes hours of sunset, and in the morning it takes hours of sunrise, and that you can replicate with our system. You're also promoting a plant that you can control the growth of in and outwards. So you can put a plant into Groundhog Day and keep it there for as long as you want, say a mother plant, and you can take cuttings off of that, then you can make it grow a bit more, keep it at that rate, cut it back down, grow it a bit more, cut it back down. You've got the ability to do what you need to do, and that's the beauty of our modular system, is you have more flexibility on what you're doing.
And in terms of ecological side of it and also the financial side of it, is this low energy usage?
It's a 24 volt, a cubic meter is 336 watts. So I know that sounds like not a lot when you hear about all of these, I've got 1,000 watt output of my LEDs, but it's not a single canopy light, it's a three-dimensional light. So technically out of my 330 watts, you are actually getting what they're saying, but you're getting it three-dimensionally, not just from one area.
To explain it here, we've got a sort of a cube structure, and the lights are placed along the four sides of the bottom, four corners, and then
the top four corners as well, yeah. So you're using 12 meters in total as the framework.
Great. And so what you mentioned earlier was that the light changes over the course of the day.
With mine, you're not just creating times of day, but you're also creating times of year if you want to. So technically you can create here in the UK, we can replicate what's happening in California within this box. It's got a built-in heat sink, which is passively putting heat out the back, but also retains a small amount of heat.
What will happen next 5 years? What will happen next 5 years?
What do you think is going to happen in the next 3 or 5 years?
5 years, I can see it being legalised. I think it's very dependent on what is happening with us and Brexit at the minute. We're going to have to create some sort of financial income, and I think the revenue from taxing cannabis at a legal side is going to be the way forward, because if you look at America and Canada and the sort of quarterly turnover they've made from taxing, you could abolish some of our existing taxes and cover that by using cannabis.
And if people want to get in touch or find out more, where's the best place to reach you?
Well, you can either come to our website at www.modulargrowth.com, or you can follow us on Instagram, it's modular_growth, or we're on Facebook at Modular Growth.
Okay, well I hope that was interesting for you. Adam's LED lights sound pretty cutting edge, hey? And if you want to find out more about the UK Cannabis Social Clubs and how they work, head over to the UKCSC website to find out more. And until next time, stay lucky.